So today we start our tour of the city with AlBaba Sweets, which is super famous right here. It's one of the first sweet makers in Lebanon, and we will be going and visiting the factory of AlBaba to see how the sweets are made. AlBaba is one of the most renowned Arab sweets maker in Lebanon. This 4-generation-old family business dates back to the 1950s. It started with a 50 square meter kitchen and eventually grew into a huge factory with multiple franchises, making AlBaba Sweets one of the leading Arabic sweets company, not only in Lebanon, but in the whole Middle East. They have maintained top quality standards while continuously innovating in their craft. It's a lot more than simple cuisine here. It's a whole art with incredible diversity of ingredients, tastes, textures, shapes, and colors. AlBaba sweets are perfectly crafted, all handmade in the right quantities at the right temperatures and with the right timing. And it's for this reason that the sweets are so successful, even in non-Arab countries, which is why they're vacuum sealed and sent all over the world. Today we will be learning about the making of 3 different sweets. So right here we are in the factory of AlBaba, and this factory is basically divided into different areas. We're in the baklawa area, and they start by using phyllo dough as the base of the baklawa, and then they use some stuffings such as pistachio or cashew nuts. Baklawa is a sweet pastry made of layers of phyllo dough filled with chopped nuts and held together with syrup. The baklawa dough is made of many phyllo layers that are flattened several times, then rolled out over and over until it's thin and wide enough. The dough is cut into tiny rectangular pieces, ready to be filled with the mixture of nuts. AlBaba mainly uses cashew and pistachio nuts. Let's just take 5 seconds to look at how fast this sweet maker works. It's so satisfying to watch. Then the baklawas are folded in a very specific way and placed in a special grid and vice versa. In the factory, the machines are custom made to make the sweets in the most efficient way. Check out, for example, how they're pouring the syrup on the baklawas while the machine is making them rotate. Then the baklawas are delicately placed with a great amount of skill into the oven for just over an hour, and finally they're coated with another round of syrup as soon as they come out. Area number 2 is the area of ma'moul, and basically they make very special ma'mouls here. In a nutshell, ma'moul is a filled semolina cookie usually made with dates or nuts such as pistachios or walnuts. We're used to eat ma'moul for Easter in Lebanon, and usually it's made out of pistachios and dates. But here, what's interesting is they make it out of apricot and bitter orange. Is it good? So the process of the ma'moul is pretty simple. They basically put a hole in the dough and they put the apricot paste in the dough of the ma'moul, and then they almond coat it, and then they put it in the oven. Now he's doing this with bitter orange. Apricot was right before. Variety. So the ma'moul can be handmade, but also a machine can help. So right here there's a machine that's helping, and obviously the last touch is handmade because it needs to be perfectly round. The last step of making the ma'mouls is marking them with a fork and placing them into the oven. I love this so much more, and I never heard of it. It's so good. Highly recommend it if you don't like dates or pistachios. We are here in the 3rd and last area we're going to be covering today in AlBaba's factory. Here we're going to be covering the knefe and how they make it. Knefe is another traditional Arabic dessert that is made in AlBaba with fine semolina dough, cheese layers, and coated in sugar-based syrup. Start off by spreading some ghee on a rectangular pan. Then sift the semolina on top of it until it becomes very fine. Then flatten the surface out before putting the pan on the fire. Add Akawi cheese and string cheese that we call jadal. And after the cheese melts, spread it evenly, then turn the knefe over. Cover it in syrup and then put it back on the fire for a bit of time. And that's how you make this marvelous breakfast dish, which is actually one of the all-time favorites of Lebanese people. When we know how much work and know-how goes into preparing these beautiful dishes behind the scenes, it's even better to look at the final table and get to taste all those wonders.